Cameron Smith last week as the Aussie labeled the 3-day tournament down under the best he's ever played in. In this video, we'll discuss Cameron Smith's assertion that he preferred winning the LIV Golf Tournament over taking home the trophy in the Open at St. Andrews. An Open Championship victory at the home of golf, St. Andrews, a second-place Masters finish at the iconic Augusta National, and a Players' Championship title at TPC Sawgrass. Former world number 2, despite Cameron Smith's impressive resume, his homecoming at LIV Adelaide was the highlight of these 3 enormous weeks. Last week saw LIV Golf's first trip to Australia, and for Smith, it was undoubtedly a competition to remember. LIV's most successful event to date took place over the course of 3 days at the Grange, with a sold-out crowd fostering an electrifying environment all around the Australian track. Taylor Gooch was the winner, taking home the £3.2 million prize with a 3-shot triumph. Australia's Golden Boy Smith emerged as the crowd favorite in the beer-fueled environment of Adelaide. With a score of 15 under par, the 29-year-old tied for 3rd place in the Australian heat. Many in the golf industry have downplayed the growth of LIV Golf since its launch in June of last year, probably as a result of its 3-round, no-cut, small-field events and lack of world-ranking points. For Smith, though, his week in Adelaide proved to be the best of his career, just 9 months after winning arguably golf's most prestigious at the most historic of venues. The Open Championship gave the Australian tournament high praise, saying, "I'd even go so far as to say this is the best event I've ever played." Being from Australia, I think I'm probably a little biased, but this is what LIV Golf is about. And Smith is not the only person who is praising the Australian-based competition. Fellow LIV rebel Phil Mickelson also expressed his admiration for the week. LIV Golf Adelaide is really an example of what is possible, said Mickelson, and a fresh chance to portray golf in a unique way, with a unique intensity, and with a unique feel. The people in Australia have embraced LIV Golf's wonderful alternative to the conventional golfing methods, and as a result, there is a completely new spirit here. Champion Cameron Smith declines to rule out move to LIV Golf Series. Although winning the 150th Open Championship at St. Andrews was unbelievable, Cameron Smith would not completely rule out playing in the contentious LIV Golf Series, which is sponsored by Saudi Arabia. On Sunday, the 28-year-old accomplished a big victory at Scotland's Old Course. "I don't know, friend," he responded when questioned about rumors that he would join the series hosted by fellow Australian Greg Norman. "My team is concerned about all of it. I'm here to compete in golf competitions." "I just won the Open, and you're asking about that," he continued. "I believe that is undesirable." The LIV Golf Series has been a topic of conversation in St. Andrews all week. By not inviting Norman, a 2-time Open champion, to this week's exhibition event and supper for past champions, the R&A sought to maintain the spotlight on their historic title. Players, including Sergio Garcia, Ian Poulter, and Lee Westwood, have answered inquiries this week about their role in the £1.6 billion startup, which Norman, a friend of Smith's, termed petty. After finishing his final round at St. Andrews, Garcia told Spanish reporters that he will imminently resign from the European-based DP World Tour, which would disqualify him from competing in the Ryder Cup in Italy the following year. Garcia, who just left the American-based PGA Tour, which has suspended its players who have competed in a LIV tournament, said, "I have given more than half my life to the European Tour, and I wanted to continue playing there, but I am not going to be where they don't want me." They include major champions Brooks Koepka, Dustin Johnson, Bryson DeChambeau, and Patrick Reed, as well as 2013 Open champion Phil Mickelson, who was also advised not to attend this week's celebration activities. Since then, he has finished T24 in Tucson 2 weeks ago after finishing T47 at the Australian Open, missing the cut at Saudi International, and then tied for 5th in LIV's season opening tournament at Mayakoba. And he's obviously excited for the Masters, where he tied for 3rd last year behind winners Scottie Scheffler and Rory McIlroy after finishing tied for 2nd behind Johnson in 2020. Smith overcame overnight co-leaders Rory McIlroy and Victor Hovland's 4-stroke lead in the final rounds to defeat American Cameron Young by 1 shot. McIlroy came in 3rd place 2 shots down. "This place is so cool. I love the golf course. I love the town." After his father abruptly canceled his trip from Australia due to the lengthy flight and the thought of doing all that travel for 1 week, he shared the victory with his team. "My dad was actually supposed to visit, but he basically canceled at the last minute. I spoke with him briefly earlier. He's now regretting it," Smith said. "I truly wish he was present as well. Being at the home of golf would have made for such a cool time even without this. Dad also enjoys playing golf. That would have been fantastic." The golfer from Brisbane jokingly stated during his media appearances that he will determine how many beers might fit in the claret jug, adding that the answer might be 2 during his news conference. Smith, who affirmed that his recognizable mullet hairdo would remain, remarked, "I'll probably have about 20 claret jugs. To be perfectly honest, I'm exhausted. I'll be shocked if I make it past 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock tonight because it's been a long week." Rory will soon win a 5th major. This Open was supposed to be the Cinderella Open that broke McIlroy's 8-year major drought for the St. Andrews Galleries, and it appeared that way up until Smith's magnificent run of 5 straight birdies on the back 9. When referring to the Northern Irishman, Smith added, "He's obviously a great player. He's one of those players that, when he's hitting balls on the range, you can't help but stop, and he just keeps banging on doors every week it seems. He is most likely the most reliable player in this group. Yes, he will undoubtedly receive a 5th major soon. He is simply really solid. I've played with Rory a few times, and I can't really think of anything wrong with him." Smith had a 2-shot advantage going into the weekend, but that advantage quickly vanished thanks to some outstanding golf on Saturday from McIlroy and Hovland. Before leaving that, the recently crowned major champion went to the putting green to practice. "I was aware of my game. I was really at ease," he continued. "On Saturday, I didn't do anything wrong. Simply put, it was one of those days. So I made a few putts and pretty much shrugged it off. All I wanted to see were some putts land. Technically, I didn't think there was much of a problem. I simply needed to see a few putts before I went to bed because it helped me feel better to know that it wasn't me and that it was just one of those days. Going out there and spending 5 minutes on the green was the best thing I did all week." Why may Smith not have to choose between money and legacy as huge LIV calls loom? When questioned at his press conference about if reports linked him to the Saudi-backed Renegade LIV Golf Series, he instantly regained his voice. "You're asking about the British Open, which I recently won. That, in my opinion, is really poor." When questioned about the veracity of the claims, Smith was evasive in his response and referred questions to his staff instead. "I don't know, mate," he replied. "The people who work with me worry about all of that. I'm here to compete in golf competitions." Smith had a breakthrough year in 2022, winning 5 times on several tours. The Australian golfer, who had been 4 strokes behind going into the final round at St. Andrews, won the 150th Open Championship, becoming one of golf's all-time greats. He won his first LIV Golf Invitational Series match in Chicago as a result. At the Miami team tournament, he led Punch GC to a 2nd-place finish by shooting a 7 under 65 on the last day, 3 shots better than any other player. Smith, who has won 3 Australian PGA championships and represented Australia in a number of team competitions, peaked at number 2 in the world. What are your opinions on this? Please share your thoughts in the comment section. If you liked today's video, please click the bell icon to subscribe to our channel and give us a thumbs up. You will be notified as soon as new content is uploaded. Thank you for taking the time to watch. We'll talk to you again in the following video.